this week I decided it was time to put the floor into the add-on room since we have the walls all done. Stay tuned and see what fun thing we used to make this floor. Any guesses before we get to it? Stay tuned and see what we use and how easy and fun this is to do. Alright, we are going to work on this floor. I actually had a different floor in mind, and then while I was working on the walls, something jumped into my mind and I decided this is an even better idea. I've never done this before on any project, and definitely not on a floor. First step is to wipe everything smooth, and we need masking tape. And you are going to need, I think, quite a bit of masking tape. First step is going to be to get this masking tape started. I kind of practice on some scrap wood, and it seems to work really well. So I'm getting a strip. We're going to start by putting strips around the outside of the floor, along the walls. And it's okay to overlap because we are going to be, as you'll see in a moment, we're going to do a lot of overlapping here in a moment. But I found that without putting it up against the walls, we didn't get a good coverage all the way to the edge. Let's see if I can get a little more there in the corner. I am not going to do the doorway. I'm not going to worry about this part of the doorway. I will worry about that later when I come to putting the door in. Put that in. I'm trying to stay out from in front of the camera and not block you too much. And you might be saying, what in the world is she doing? Well, you'll see in a moment. It's not up on the wall, although we will be putting a baseboard. Well, I guess it's all right up on the wall. I can use my knife and cut that. See if I get this off. Yeah, there we go. I just want to cover the floor up, the wood part of the floor up, all the way. So, start by doing the perimeter. I guess I didn't need to tear that off. Oops. All right. Last little bit by the door. Now comes the fun part. What I want you to do is take your masking tape and tear it and start covering everything up. Make sure that the pieces all lay flat. You can make your pieces as big or as little as you like. It's up to you. I'm gonna make mine kind of a variety, but I'm gonna try for nothing bigger than 1 inch by 1 inch showing, but I can layer smaller pieces over bigger ones. You want a variety. We're looking for kind of a subtle texture here. And this is probably going to take me a long time to do. I'm not going to make you sit through a video of me doing this. I'm going to do just a little bit here. I'm going to get this side started. But I'm just tearing pieces off, just random shapes and sizes. And basically you don't want to have the straight edges showing. So put a rough edge, like here, there's a straight edge. Okay, I'm going to cover that up with a rough edge. I'm going to cover up the hole where the wood is showing with another small piece. And I'm just going to continue. At the end, we'll probably go around and put small pieces over any place that looks too consistent or to break it up a little bit. So you can see what I'm going to be doing for a while. When I get this all covered, I'll come back and we'll move on to the next step. Alright, I've got the floor covered. You want to burnish it down, like, okay, that piece came up. Make sure that you are pretty even, like, okay, there's a piece where I can see wood. You want to make sure the wood is all covered, even the little tiny pieces showing between. Make sure that you haven't left any big pieces of tape. If you've got a long strip, put a little strip over it in a couple of places. If you've got something that wants to come up, put another piece over it. You want everything to lay flat. Burnish it down with your fingers. And now this is ready for the next step, which is going to make this look incredible. So let me go get some gloves, what I need to finish it with, and I'll be right back. Alright, so I have 3 colors of student grade water acrylic paints. I have a crimson, a burnt sienna, and a yellow ochre. And I have a glove on my hand to keep my hand somewhat clean. Let's see if I can move you back. And can I go out more? No, this is as far out as we can go. So I'm going to squeeze just some globs. I'm going to mix the color right on the floor. I don't want a solid color. If you want a solid color on your floor, mix the paint first or use a solid color. And I really need to keep this off the walls because I don't want this on the wallpaper. This will ruin our wallpaper. And the burnt sienna. I bought these acrylic paints a while back thinking, oh, I don't really need these, but I'm going to get them. I might use them a couple of times. They're almost gone. I need to get more. Alright, now paper towel. And we are going to rub this into the floor, up to the walls without hopefully getting up on the walls. I think I should have brought more paper towels. Oh, I'm getting up on the wall because I'm working around the camera. Well, I can cover what goes up on the very lower part of the walls. I can cover with the baseboards. I may have to use a little bit wider baseboard than I had intended to. I should have brought more paper towels. The paper towels are in the other room. I'm trying not to get my head in the way and still see what I'm doing. Because we're rubbing this on is why we needed to make sure all the edges were down. Alright, now I'm going to grab a wet wipe. I'm going to get a little more of that off. I was a little too generous with my paint, I think. Oh, yes. I think this would work really well for an outside surface too, like a patio. Wipe too much of it off. Alright, now this needs to dry, and when this is dry, we'll put a clear coat on it, and it is going to look incredible. Alright, so this is now dried. I did go back and rub a little more paint, including adding just a touch of for a number. I would have shown that on camera, but my battery was charging on my camera. So now I'm going to coat with a layer of just some matte Mod Podge. And since we're doing a floor, it's a nice flat surface. I like to just pour it out on there and then use the brush. And you've seen me do this process many times. And depending if you want a smooth surface, you might want to use a foam brush. I don't particularly want a smooth surface on it. If any of your edges of your masking tape came up, this will kind of stiffen them and put them back down, and then we'll put a second coat of Mod Podge on when this one is dry. And then when that dries, this will be done. I may decide to do 3 coats of Mod Podge. It depends on how it looks. Whatever it takes to get everything secured down and looking like a floor. So we'll let this dry. I'll clean my brush and then I'll be back in a little bit. Alright, so coat 1 is dry and it's not as smooth as I would like, so I definitely am going to put 2 coats on. And I may come back in the morning and put a 3rd one on before I record. What I'm looking for is for this to, either I didn't want the stuff to be completely flat, I want my finish to be flat. You know, I want it to have some lines of texture, but I want it to be, I don't want to feel the tape lumps. Like there's a piece of tape sticking up there. So I have a feeling this is going to take probably 3 coats from the way it looks after the first coat. But I'm loving this finish. I think this is going to be so cool. And it's different. So I'm going to get this spread evenly. And alright, so the floor is now finished. I absolutely love how this looks. I did have to take some coarse sandpaper and knock off. There were some little like sharp prickly bits in a couple of places. I knocked those off with sandpaper. I've got 3 coats of Mod Podge on here. The last one was pretty thick because I wanted this to look floor-like, but I love this. I'll try and get some good photos for the blog. We'll put the molding, the base molding around it, and when we put the doors in and windows in, which will come pretty soon, I think. I've got a couple of other things to do first. So I hope you enjoyed this process. Be sure and check the blog post. I'll have some more information there. And check us on Facebook. If you make some of the things from the project, I'd love to see pictures of what you do. And I'll talk to you later. Bye.